Good morning, Wilmington, and welcome to Rec Time. This is Recreation Assistant Morgan Freeze, and today for Rec Time I have tips for you and your family on how to identify trees right in your backyard or when you're walking out and about around the town. There are a lot of trees out there to learn, and there are dozens of trees that are native to this area, not even including all of the types of trees you might encounter that are not native but are planted in gardens or in neighborhoods as ornamentals. So there's a lot of ground to cover, but there are some basic tips that you can follow to help make sorting and identifying trees a lot easier. Now, I know that leaves are the first thing that we pay attention to when we're looking at trees, but my first tip is to look at the branches first. When you're looking at trees, you can actually tell a lot about them by the pattern that the branches grow in and the way the leaves attach to the branches. There are two types of branching structure you're looking for: opposite and alternate. With opposite branching trees, every time that there's a twig or a leaf growing from a branch or a stem, from the exact opposite side of that branch or stem, there's going to be another twig or leaf that's also growing. And you're looking for opposite branching trees because there aren't a whole lot of trees that have this type of branching. In fact, there's an acronym you can use to remember the ones that have opposite branching. It's Mad Bucking Horse. The maples, ashes, dogwoods, buckeyes, and horse chestnuts. So if you're able to find an opposite branching tree, you've already narrowed down your options a lot and made it much easier to identify that tree. Okay, now that you've got that out of the way, we can go ahead and look at the leaves on the trees, everyone's favorite part. And you definitely want to take notice of the shape of the leaf. Is it completely rounded with a round tip? Is it pointed at the end? Does it have all kinds of funky finger-like spikes on it? We call those lobes. Or is it all kind of together without any lobes? You also want to look at the edge of the leaf. You can tell a lot by looking at whether the leaf has a perfectly smooth edge or whether the edge is kind of spiky with serrations like on a knife. We call those toothed leaves. And not all toothed leaves are the same. Some have very small teeth, some have really big, uneven, ragged teeth. So that's another feature to look for. Then with leaves, you also want to look at the way the veins grow. Is there one center vein that goes from one end of the leaf to the other and has little veins coming off of it? Or do all of the veins attach at the stem of the leaf? The first one is called pinnate venation. The other is called palmate venation because it looks kind of like the way your fingers spread out from your palm. Our third tree ID tip is make sure you stop and you look at the bark and the trunk of the tree. And I bet that just from looking at the bark, you can probably already guess what kind of tree this one is. Pine trees have bark that is really recognizable, even if you can't see any of the branches or the needles. And finally, with your trees, always check to see if you can spot flowers, fruits, nuts, or seeds. So that's it for Rec Time. Thanks for tuning in today, and come on back to see us at 11 a.m. every weekday here at the City of Wilmington Parks and Recreation social media page.